Tales from the trenches. Stories forged in the fires of experience. This episode recorded at the 2024 National HVACR Education Conference and proves that education is a lifelong journey. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are hanging out at the 2024 National HVACR Education Conference, and I'm spending time with Ray Coker and Harvey Caplan. How are you, gentlemen?
Oh, very good.
Real good.
So we are here to learn about things that are transitioning in the industry, and we're here to continue our education. And I think it's very important for people to understand that education, particularly in our industry, is never ending. As technicians, as educators, contractors, we constantly need to update our education to know what's happening in the industry. And I would love for the two of you to share your experiences, and most importantly, share how long you've been in the industry and what you find at the conference.
I started out in the industry in about 1962. I was in the Air Force at the time, and I decided I needed some extra money. And so I went over to Mobile, Alabama, and went to York School and came back. And the Big Guff Hill Dude Ranch out there by the Biloxi Air Force Base needed technician to take care of all of their refrigeration, air conditioning equipment, kitchen equipment. And so I worked there part-time for them. And then later on, I was teaching computers. Air Force was lucky to me, or good to me. They sent me to Kingston, New York to learn computers. I came back, taught computers for about 3 years. And then lo and behold, IBM came in and offered me about 3 times my Air Force salary, and it took about 10 seconds to decide what to do.
Right.
And so then I went to Huntsville, Alabama for a year, worked on the Apollo launch vehicle computer.
Oh, wow.
And then they said, well, hey, Ray, you grew up in Texas. How'd you like to go to Texas? And I says, sounds good. So we moved down to Houston, and I was a flight controller on all of the Apollo missions.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we lost our astronauts in one of the fires.
Yeah.
As flight controllers, we had nothing to do. We'd already had all of our mission training, all the simulations and everything else. And so I got bored and I went back into the air conditioning business part-time. I still had to go to NASA every day for 8 hours, and then I worked nights and weekends and became one of the largest York dealers in Galveston County.
Nice.
Well, I went ahead and stayed with the IBM throughout all the Apollo missions and the first shuttle mission, and then decided I'd retire. And that lasted about 3 years. And then I went back into a similar type air conditioning situation, and now I own a refrigerant recovery and reclamation company in League City, Texas, and we deal with large contractors, schools, hospitals, and chemical plants. I attend these seminars up here to keep track of what the next chemical refrigerant is going to be, so that I'll know how to go ahead and redesign my equipment to handle the new refrigerants.
Absolutely.
I've already went ahead and started getting some R32, one of the A2L refrigerants, and I've already went ahead and explosion-proofed my system that reclaims that refrigerant. I'm glad it's a one chemical, so that way it's easy to reclaim and get it back to normal specs of brand new refrigerant.
Yeah.
And so that's about what I've been doing. And I enjoy coming to these seminars. I started when they first started coming to Las Vegas years and years ago. And I think I've missed only 2 of them.
Wow.
And so I sure appreciate ESCO.
And we appreciate you being here. Harvey?
Well, I have a similar experience. I started back in 1961 as an electrician, and I wound up with a reputation of being a good control guy. And air conditioning, particularly in the residential world, was a virgin industry back in 1962, 63,
Sure.
when I was offered a job in refrigeration and air conditioning. Well, and I would have stayed where I was as an electrician, except that I was making top pay at that point, which was $2.50 an hour.
Yeah.
And I was offered $3.50
Oh my.
to go there. And at that point, I had a wife, a mortgage, a car payment, and 2 children.
Right.
So
That's a no-brainer.
so on the first day at the job, the boss handed me a copy of here's a pump, Modern Refrigeration, which was, if you guys remember the old green book, you wouldn't remember.
No, I see them, but yeah.
But at any rate, and it was about an inch thick or what have you. And he said, you need to learn this stuff. Well, I'm an anal guy, as most of you know. And so I started studying that book and learning. And then I got a reputation of being a pretty good service guy. We didn't call them technicians back in those days. You were a mechanic.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody's got to have a fancy title.
That's right.
And not only that, they want a fancy paycheck. But be that as it may, so that's how I got to that. And then eventually I went into business for myself. And after my kids were grown, and I says, I don't really want to do this anymore because, I'd already gone through all the colleges and all that sort of stuff for the kids. So I started teaching, and which was really, it was hard to believe to go to work at a certain time in the morning and in the afternoon you were home.
A set schedule?
A set schedule, yeah. And I went to work for Ream at that. Well, no, I was teaching at Lincoln at that time. Okay. And Ream used to do some seminars at our school, used the school's facility, and they would give the school a piece of training equipment or what have you. So at any rate, so the guy that was doing that training left the company. And so I called the owner up, the boss, the owner, wasn't the owner, but at any rate, I called him up and said, hey, what are you going to do for that position? And he says, why, are you interested? And I said, yeah. I said, and show you the kind of guy he was. So I said, what is your pay for that? And he gave me a range. And I said, I would only be interested near the top of that. Okay. I said, I'm not interested in down at the bottom of that range. So he said, okay. So we interviewed this and the other. So when he finally made me a job offer, it was $500 less than the top.
Yeah.
So then after Ream, I went to work for York, and then I retired. And I teach these seminars, and I make these videos, and I do all these things that, the industry was good to me, so it's my payback.
It is. It's about giving back, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is.
definitely about paying back.
Yeah. So if we think about giving back to the industry and the importance of staying connected in HVAC, so how would you, on an average, how many hours a year do you think you participate in events like this as continuing education?
Well, I teach probably between 15 and 20 seminars, which is one day.
Mm-hmm.
But my wife thinks I live on a computer. I do these videos, and one video would probably take anywhere from 30 to 50 hours to put it together.
Yeah, sure.
And even though the longest one that I've done is 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people that I train are usually the ones that are in a technical school already, like the Galveston County has a tech school there, and they will bring their people up, or at least every class will come up and spend at least all day long, and I will go ahead and give them all of the updates on that EPA has on the Section 608, and then also the A2L refrigerants, and then show them the big machinery that we use to recover the large quantities of refrigerants in the chemical plants, and then also show them the reclamation machines, how they work, and then take them over to the hydrostatic test station, show them how we recertify all the cylinders and everything. And so I spend as much time as I can with them, because there's I think 4 colleges in the area that of Houston that teach air conditioning, and so they all call and they want to take a nice say visit, get out of the classroom for a few hours and come down, and we spend a lot of time with them. And then also, and always are training the employees that we have. We just got one new employee that came in, and we're putting him on the OJT. And then also, if he works out the first 90 days, then I'll pay his tuition, buy his books and everything else, and allow him to go to air conditioning college.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I've done, I think most people know that at one point I was on the NATE technical committee, and I was on the committee that wrote the journeyman's and master's test in the state of Maryland. And now, probably my biggest satisfaction is I teach a review course for licensing in Maryland. And the average of people that have not taken my class is about 40% pass. And the ones that take my class, it's about 85%.
That's pretty
So
significant.
that's a great, great pat on the shoulder for me as far as I'm concerned.
The thing I find most interesting about it is, we talk about continuing education and giving back to the industry. And we have a lot of educators that are here for their first time. They're new to the program. They're trying to learn what things to expect. And one of the reasons I thought it would be wonderful for us to sit down and talk about the continuing education side, and that this is a constant evolution of learning. Ray and Harvey, do you mind sharing with the audience how old each of you are?
Oh, I'm just a youngster. I'll be 85 this year.
I'm only 91. In fact, it was kind of comical. They were asking me what my 3 sons are doing, and I says, well, the oldest son was 66 and worked for IRS, and so he retired about 3 years ago. The youngest son retired about 2 years ago, and he's only 62. And then last year, my middle son that worked with me, he retired, and he's only 64. And here I am, only 91, and still enjoying going to the office every day, working 4 to 5 hours a day. But I've got good management people, so that when I'm going up here, and my wife and I are together, and so we're enjoying the seminar, and I've got good people working for me. They enjoy the jobs, and they're doing a good job for me.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, that from the students that I've had here previously, it's really great when they come up and say, hey, I really enjoyed your class this year, and I learned something. I said, well, you got to come to another one. And I said, I'm doing it at such and such time. And they say, I'll be there. And occasionally one says, well, I won't be there on Wednesday or whatever day. And it's great. And, everybody likes an attaboy, including us old timers.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what really has been an enlightenment for me. I've had 3 employees that went ahead and thought they had found better jobs. And then after a couple of years would come and say, hey, can I have my old job back? One of them even took a big pay cut. He was working for one of the big school districts there and everything else. And he came back over and he says, I just can't take the politics in the school system. Says, let me come back to work for you. And so that's a heartfelt thing for me to have people tell me that, hey, you've been a big influence on my life, and your company has. And so I've, treat them like family.
That's part of the reason I wanted the 2 of you to join me is I wanted both of you to know how much I appreciate your dedication to the industry, and to know that you've spent your entire lives giving back to people way beyond the typical social expectation of when we work and how long a career is. Because a lot of people look at work as, I'm going to do this for a certain amount of time and then I'm going to be done. But our industry is not really like that. It's very unique. And I keep relating this to this career. It's really not about fixing broken things. It's about serving people.
That's right.
And when you can help someone understand that they're not just going into a career, they're going into a lifestyle and a constant evolution of themselves and a never-ending reward. I don't know that I could ever stop doing this.
And I can tell you, I've never stopped.
No, I haven't either.
And my one thing in the classes that I do, whether it's a seminar or here for a 45-minute class or what have you, is I honestly believe they got to be fun.
They do.
They have to be fun.
Enjoyable.
If they're not fun, the students aren't going to learn.
It's true.
And got to get them involved. I like two-way streets. I'll ask them questions, and I don't care if the answer is right or wrong.
It's the interaction.
That doesn't matter, because if it's wrong, we're going to tell them. My usual response is when the guy says it's an answer, and for a split second, not in, say whether it was right or wrong, and then I'll say wrong.
Okay. Give them a little time.
Well, give them a little time to think about it.
Yeah.
So, it's that. It's got to be fun for them. It's got to be fun for me. When it stops being fun, I'll probably stop.
Call
I
it
hope
quits.
that never happens.
I believe that.
That's the way I am. I love what I'm doing. I love the people I work with. I enjoy meeting our customers. In fact, here at this seminar, I met several of our customers. Daikin is one of our larger customers now. Goodman used to be the customer, and then Daikin bought them out. And so now I'm bringing in the R32 that Daikin has and reclaiming that. They don't know yet what they're going to do with the reclaimed refrigerant, but I enjoy talking with them. A-Gas is one of our customers. We do a lot of mutual trading back and forth of refrigerants. In other words, they'll need something we got, I'll need something they have. And so it's a pleasure meeting all these people face to face.
Well, I'm here to tell you, both of you are an inspiration to our industry. I applaud you and I appreciate you. And I'm so glad that you spent some time with us today. And I look forward to many opportunities of learning and continuing to see people grow in this industry.
Definitely my pleasure
Thank you.
to be here.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.